Hello. So, progress report on reading Clash of Kings. I am currently this far. Soon I'll be ready to start the third season and then read the third book. After that, I don't know. So, making that progress, I figured, why not talk about books? That's something to talk about, I guess. When I was younger, I did do a reasonably decent amount of reading. Then, as I got a bit older, reading became a little harder for me to do. Then, one day, I started reading again. At the moment, the main thing that interferes with my reading is procrastination, which interferes with most things. I keep setting out to read 50 books in a year and fail each time. This year, I'd say I've done the worst, considering Clash of Kings is the only non-comic book I've read this year. But hey, let's bring up a few books I really enjoyed. First would be pretty much any book by John Green. One of his books I feel doesn't get enough attention, even among nerdfighters, is An Abundance of Catherines. My favourite of John Green's books keeps changing the more I think about it, but the one that's been my favourite the most has been An Abundance of Catherines. I think it's the most fun of the books. Many people would consider Looking for Alaska or The Fault in Our Stars as their favourite, and they're both really good books, but I feel like An Abundance of Catherines and Paper Towns don't get as much attention as they should. Also, Let It Snow, that's a really good book. On that note, I'm also a big fan of Maureen Johnson. My favourite of her books is The Bermudez Triangle. It's a very interesting and heartfelt story, and if you haven't read it, I definitely recommend it. It's a good book. Those particular authors are pretty much authors mostly talked about by nerdfighters, so considering I have a few friends who are nerdfighters, they're not really much of a recommendation to them. Nor is this, for that matter. Most people will have read this. But the Winnie the Pooh books are a big part of my childhood, and so I still consider it one of my favourite books. Those are the ones that I would class as my favourites. The ones that I, would look to and think, those were some of the best books I've read. I didn't actually bring that many books downstairs with me. I do intend on expanding my horizons of reading. Like, as you've noticed, I've been reading the Song of Ice and Fire series, and I want to read more, but it's deciding what I read. That's the tricky part. My dad is a big fan of the Discworld series, and I read some of the books in the series and I enjoyed them, but I don't know where I should start to properly read them. Do I start from the beginning? Do I start from a book that particularly interests me? It's hard to tell. And usually when I'm considering reading, there's something else that catches my attention first. Yeah, tomorrow will be my Doctor Who review. Hopefully tomorrow's review will indeed be longer than previous Doctor Who reviews. Anyway, that's all for now. See ya. At some point I really should get an actual sign-off phrase. Yeah, the only other book I brought downstairs with me was this, which is a book about people who aren't from Japan and how they stand out. Yeah, that's a book I got given once.